Hey, my worthy viewers. Today I am talking about an Oscar nominated movie for Best Cinematography. It's called Empire of Light. You can see it on HBO Max right now. And here to talk with me about it is my good friend Cody House from Video Store Rejects. Take it away, Cody.
Howdy, welcome. Thanks for having me, Justin. Glad to, I knew this was a movie you hadn't seen because you kept saying this was like the one movie from 2022 you hadn't seen yet. So I was like, oh, well, let's just watch it. I know it's coming on HBO Max, so.
Yeah, here we are. So, yeah, tell us about the movie and what you liked or disliked about it.
Well, Empire Light is another movie about the power of cinema that came out in 2022. It takes place in the early 80s, I believe 1981 to be exact, in England. And it's about the lives of these different people that work at this theater called the Empire, which is a really beautiful movie theater. Like, I want to see a movie in this theater. It looked really great. It mostly follows Olivia Colman and this young actor by the name of Michael Ward, and it kind of deals with like race issues going on at the time, and also it's about mental illness. But yeah, it's also about movies because there's a really good scene with Toby Jones explaining to Michael Ward's character like how the projection works and how you project the movies, and like my favorite part is him talking about people smoking in the movie theater, and then he's up there in the projection booth smoking, and I'm like, you're the most dangerous place to be smoking.
Yeah, all of that can just go up into flames real quick, and you're up there smoking. Yeah, I thought that was really funny. And do you agree with its Oscar nomination?
I mean, it is a beautiful looking movie. It is shot by Roger Deakins, who may be the best living cinematographer. I don't know if it should have been nominated for best cinematography because I feel like there are movies that didn't get in that should have, like Top Gun Maverick, like.
Yeah.
And I'd have to look at the list again, but I feel like whereas last year all five nominees, I was like, yeah, those are all good lists. I think there's a few this year that I would be like, there's probably something else that should be on there. But I get it, and it does look good. Like, it's not a bad looking movie, but it's not his best work. But
Yeah,
you
I
bring.
mean it's very beautiful, but it's not his fault, right? Because where they are and what they do to the scenery is set up on purpose. So there's beautiful boardwalk and beach scene, but then also they're on top of the roof and there's a fireworks show going off. I mean, how of course that's going to look beautiful. So yeah, this is Olivia Colman. She's like a co-manager of this Empire theater, and Michael Ward comes in and starts working there, and she kind of shows him the ropes, and it seems like they're both figuring their lives out and what's going on with themselves, and they end up sort of like falling for each other and having this sort of mysterious romance. And it's all set in this empire, which I really love because my second job ever was at the movie theater, and it was my favorite job ever. And it was still during a time where we had 35 millimeter projectors. So, I was a projectionist, and I would build the movie from, all 5, 6 reels, whatever it is, into a big reel. Where here is we're seeing two projectors, and they have one threaded up and then the other threaded up, and then once this one's done, you watch the sort of cigarette burns up at the top, and you flip over to the other projector, and then you have to go get the third reel ready. So my job is a lot easier than it was for Toby Jones, but now it's all digital, so now it's just a literal click of the button after you've downloaded it. So definitely a lot easier. But I loved the whole concept of the movie theater and the projections and what movies are. One of my biggest, it's the most insane thing is Olivia Colman works in this movie theater, but she doesn't watch movies. She just
Right, as a whole.
loves, loves her job, and it's like, well, that's great, but you're missing out on something so huge in your life, which is movies. But she I think this performance may have been better than her Lost Daughter performance, Olivia Colman. I think she had some scenes where she really shone, bright and really gave us some very interesting takes. It is directed by Sam Mendes, and this may be a little bit of a different sort of movie vibe than we see him. I think the last movie we saw him do was 1917, which is a war movie.
Mm-hmm. He also co-wrote the screenplay, if I'm not mistaken, which is something he normally doesn't do either.
Yeah, it says it's solely written by him. I'm sure he might have.
Okay.
A couple.
Okay, so even more so.
Yeah, but this is also starring, as we said, Toby Jones, but Colin Firth, who's great. Mm-hmm. Maybe even kind of underutilized. But I do think the shining star here was Michael Ward. I think he was really, really good. He's he just really looks great on screen. He works well on screen, and I think he's going to be a really good up-and-coming actor.
I agree. I think he is the standout of this story. I think because this movie did mostly get negative reviews from critics, which I would gather because watching the movie, I don't know, I didn't go and read the reviews, but Rotten Tomatoes just aggravates how many good, how many bad. I would wager that the majority of those bad reviews are probably 2 or 2.5 star ratings, though. I would not think they're like F 1 star, but I would gather maybe that some of the negativity towards this is maybe because it kind of switches like who's the protagonist of the story, which I don't know why that's an issue, but maybe like they felt like, well, is it Michael Ward's movie? Is it Olivia Colman's movie? Like, it is sort of a romance, but not really a romance. So I can see why some people may have not liked it, but I thought it was a pretty solid movie.
They would call it a May-December relationship, right?
Right, yeah.
Speaking of the critics, sitting at 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, 74% on the audience score, but 6.6 on IMDb. I think 74% is about right. It's
yeah.
It's like a C movie. I mean, I'm glad I saw it, and I don't necessarily need to go rush back and see it again. But
exactly,
it's definitely worth the view. Do you have a rating you'd like to give it?
I mean, I think that 74% is about how I feel about it. I didn't love this movie, but I thought for what it was worth the view, and I enjoyed watching it. But it was perfectly fine to watch at home on streaming. It wasn't like something I was like, man, I wish I saw this in the theater, or man, I wish I rushed out to watch it. Like, I was like, oh, that was nice. I enjoyed myself. So yeah. I guess it's like a solid B, a 3 star.
Out of 5.
Yeah, not a 5.
No, out of 5.
Yeah, I guess a 3 out of 5. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. This is no Sam Mendes Deakins 1917 where you need to see it in theaters or not Deakins, but where you need to go rush out and see it in theaters. This movie's fine. I mean, it has some great spectacles. I think the star of the show to me is the movie theater, because not only is there movie theaters, but there was like a restaurant and another level that was like a huge like another restaurant and bar and piano like area. And it was just like, can you imagine what that would have been like what that place would have been at its most peak, at its popping, when it's, it would have been so cool to live through that. But there is some sweet moments, but overall I'm giving it a WT.5, which is about the same. It's, it's a fine movie. But yeah, we're not rushing back out to see it, and it only got the 1 nomination, so that means that it's kind of fell flat for the year. But we definitely recommend it. Go check it out. Empire of Light. It's out on HBO Max, and it's definitely worth the view. Where can they find you, Cody?
You can find me on my Facebook page, Video Store Rejects, my YouTube page, Video Store Rejects. We also have a Twitter page. And if you want to keep up with what I am watching or rating, you can follow me on Letterboxd at FilmNerd85. I also have a Twitter handle by that name as well.
Sweet. Very, very cool. Yeah, you can also find him and I chat multiple movie stuff over on the Fleming Film Show. Recently, Rob and I talked about the Oscars. Our will and wants to win for the Oscars coming up. BAFTAs was just last night, so we talked about that. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me for Empire of Light. It is definitely, if it wasn't up for an Oscar, I may still not have watched it. So I'm glad that I'm glad that you reached out and wanted to see it, and I'm definitely glad I saw it because it's worth the view.
Yeah, and I wish more movie theaters still looked like this because there's nothing as it's not magical going to the multiplex as much. And nothing against digital projection, but I know that like some of the theaters I go to, the employees forget or don't care. And a lot of times I have to be like, hey guys, the movie hasn't started yet. Like the
20 minutes
ads,
of trailers hasn't started yet.
yeah, or the sound's not working or the picture's not on. And then they tell me, oh, it'll take 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh, because that's how long it's going to take them to get up there because they forgot to check the projection. Because
I mean, if that happened on the film projectors, I mean, like, it's mayhem. Like, a brain wrap is where the film wraps around the brain, which is sending it through the thread down to the projector. And if that wraps, you have to cut it, splice it, put it back together, but within the time where people will still stay in the theater and not leave. So, it's insane how lucky they are these days. But, yeah, very, very good. Thanks for joining me. And actually, we are going to go talk about another movie, which I will be putting out later this week as well. Until then, we'll talk soon.
Bye.